Welcome to the Foster Your Passion podcast, where entrepreneurs, who are mostly women, share their passions, their lessons, and leave you feeling uplifted, motivated, and possibly even inspired to go and foster your own passion. I'm your host, Hayley Foster, and this is the Foster Your Passion podcast. Welcome back. This is the Foster Your Passion podcast, and I'm Hayley Foster. Super excited to be here today with my friend Jennifer Thoma. Is that how you say your last name? Thoma. The H is silent. So tricky. I'm so glad I asked. Jen is a wellness entrepreneur and coach, and she focuses on taking the stress out of everything and narrowing down your overwhelm without overreacting. Yep. So thank you for being here today, Jen. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So I'm all about helping people get over the overwhelm. So we're going to jump right in. And I would love for you first to just tell me how you got started in this business. I believe you are a new entrepreneur, so let's talk about that. I love this pandemic brought so many more amazing women entrepreneurs into the world.
Yes,
so
well,
tell me your story.
I'm a fairly new full-time entrepreneur, but I've had a side hustle for a few years. So what happened is a few years ago, my husband decided to make a major life change, gave up both of our careers, moved to a different town so he could go back to school. And eventually we would have the vision of working together on some business of our own. He became a functional medicine physician. We were going to move away from St. Louis, which is where we went to school. And I got a great corporate job. And every time we decided, okay, now it's time to move, they would promote me or they'd give me accolades or more money. And so I just kept staying and staying. And unfortunately, that corporate job was full of stress and overwhelm and all the things that come with being a mom of young kids who's doing a lot of traveling and arguing with people all day long. And so one of the things my husband did to help me with my stress was he did hypnosis, and he learned how to do hypnosis and treated me with hypnosis. And he created a patent-pending process for self-hypnotizing people. And that's where this whole business came from. Neuroredeem is a process for using self-hypnosis to reduce your stress and overwhelm. And so as a side hustle, I started running that business. And when we were doing some strategic planning in December of 2019, we said, the best thing that could happen is a voluntary buyout from my corporate job. And lo and behold, they approached us in June of 2020 and said, do you want a voluntary buyout? And I said, no, it's a pandemic. The business has been closed for 2 months. I don't think that's a good idea, but we were too far down the road. We jumped in and we took advantage of it. And it's so far been one of the best decisions I've ever made, focusing on the business full time now since August. So it's pretty exciting.
That is amazing. And so how are you guys putting it out there? How do people find out about Neuroredeem? I know you're active on social media, but how can people that are listening, how do they find you so that they can get their hands on this?
Well, of course, it's on our website, neuroredeem.com, and I am all over social media as Neuroredeem or as Jen Thoma. But primarily, to this point, our business has come from my husband's clinic and the patients that he sees in and out. And so he sees patients who have pretty severe health concerns that they can't really figure out. And in the end, he points them to the fact that it's the stress that's causing them. And often it's really surprising. It takes a lot of convincing. People don't realize that their stress is having such a negative impact on their health. So right now, they're coming primarily through the clinic, but we're getting ready to do another launch in June. So we're excited about getting it to more people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So can you talk a little bit about the process in terms of how that works?
About the patent pending process? Yeah, it includes, like I mentioned, self-hypnosis, but also a few other modalities like tapping, binary tones, fractionation, all of these neurological terms that help as quickly as possible your brain to get overstimulated. Because once your brain is overstimulated, the next thing you tell it believes to be true. So if you think of somebody in a PTSD situation, they get overstimulated with an explosion. And then what happens next, which is destruction, is what they expect as the new normal. What we do in our program is we overstimulate you in a positive way using neurology and the way that the brain neural pathways go back and forth across your brain, to overstimulate it and then tell you that it's okay to be calm and that it's okay to be relaxed, and sort of reset and reprogram those beliefs that you have that you need to be in a constant state of stress.
Super cool. And so are you mostly focused on clients coming in that have stress or a PTSD type of situation?
Yeah, our primary focus right now is just general stress, because honestly, every single person is dealing with some kind of stress. And like you said before, this pandemic has magnified it. Thankfully, there's a big focus on mental health. And so people are really trying to get it under control. So right now, my primary target, because it's who I know, is corporate women who are just really struggling with, getting ahead in their job, balancing all the different aspects, not yelling at their kids when they get home because they're too tired and overwhelmed for what happened during the day, not crying at work because they didn't get enough sleep, all of those things. I think we can help with just to reset your stress threshold and just lower the constant state of stress that you have so that you can handle difficult things more easily.
Do you think there's a stigma behind like the word hypnosis? Like when I think hypnosis, I think like I'm laying on a couch, somebody's waving like a little tick-tocky clock over my face and like putting me into a state that they have to take me out of. So when you say self-hypnosis, to be honest, like there's a fear for me being like, what happens if I can't get out of that state of hypnosis? Yes. So how are you?
So we started into the hypnosis area because my husband, who's constantly going back to school, was like, oh, I'm going to go back for psychology. And I said, I'm not paying for another degree. You have like 4. So figure out a different way. And he had read somewhere that an hour of hypnosis does more to help somebody change their behavior than years of therapy with a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And so he began to study it and he began to use it with me and his patients. And I was the same way. I had this I'm total control freak and you are not putting me under because I don't know what you're going to say. And what you learn is that you actually have your full faculties when you're under hypnosis. You can wake up at any time. You don't have to do what they say if you don't want to. You're really listening and remembering what's happened. So that's kind of a stigma. I'm now a certified hypnotist as well. But yeah, for the first few months that we've started to sell this program online and to get to know people and talk about it, I actually stayed away from the word hypnosis just for that exact reason. But it's really hard to explain how it works without saying hypnosis. And I think it's a little bit better to educate people that hypnosis just helps your brain to work so much quicker because you bypass all that crap that you're thinking and you get right to the heart of the matter and you resolve it really quickly. And self-hypnosis, you're just listening to an audio program. So part of our program, you have to listen to it with headphones in because it goes in one ear and at a time. It's hard to explain, but it goes in and out of one ear at a time to make it work. And it's just you listening to a program. So you're not hopefully getting that fear of somebody's going to make me do something I don't want to, right? You can just listen to it and go, oh, this isn't so bad. I can do this. And it's a good 12 minutes of just relaxing and it's sort of meditating and taking care of yourself.
Right. So is it similar to meditation?
It is similar. The difference is that instead of, with most meditation, we would say, calm your mind and calm your body. In this case, we're asking you to do some tapping on your legs to keep that stimulation going. And we're talking to you constantly the whole time in a hypnotic language that's helping to change those patterns. So on your part as the user, you're just relaxed and you're just listening to something that's very calming, and we're doing all the work through the audio programs.
Gotcha. So you just basically sell the audio program and then people do it on their own.
It's a 5-week program, and you start out at one level, and then over the course of those 5 weeks, you listen to different programs that teach you how to do it when you're not listening to it. So then when you're out in, for example, the corporate world, if you're in a board meeting, you can find yourself tapping your finger on the counter and immediately getting relaxed to that state without having the headphones on and without having us tell you to do that.
That's awesome. And so how long have you been educated in this?
So I got my hypnosis certification about a year ago because I was going to focus on building the business, and I felt like that's something I really needed to understand. I don't hypnotize people clinically. It's not. I just wanted to understand. But for this program, I went through, like I mentioned before, in my corporate job about 4 years ago, major layoffs, major HR issues because people were losing their jobs and stuff, a ton of stress. And I started to have some serious health problems. I was getting very sick. I was gaining a lot of weight very quickly, couldn't sleep, had headaches all the time. And he created this program for me. And so I've been using it for 4 years to just keep, I mean, once you use it, you've learned it and you don't have to keep going back to it. But then, if a pandemic strikes, you can bring it back out and refresh yourself a little bit. But it is what keeps me stable. And I used to be so high strung and high drama. And now it's a much more just sort of relaxed and stable kind of person, still type A, still trying to get things done and build a few businesses, but, not the same sort of pressure and stuff that I had before.
Awesome. That is super cool. I love like the female pivot. And it's funny because I don't think that men pivot as much as females pivot in their careers and in their lives. And I don't know, maybe it's because we're more flexible. I don't know. Like, do you see that?
I think when men pivot, they do it, they like go a total different direction. Like they go completely sideways, and we just kind of start turning a different direction and spend some time finding what we want. So, but I do find like, the older I get, the more you want to have a different way of looking at the world, and the more certain things matter and other things don't matter. And I always kind of laughed at people when they told you after you turned 40 that would happen, but it totally did. And my perspective on life changed. And you realize you don't want to be mad and stressed out all the time.
No, I completely agree. Or unhappy, right? I mean, at 40, like I chose happiness. I got divorced, and it was the best decision I ever made for myself and my children. And then found like fairy tale love second time around. And it was a matter of making that conscious decision that I needed a change in my life, and I wanted to, I wanted to be happy, and that was really it. And at the same time, I got out of a lot of relationships, of friendships that also weren't fulfilling. And just decided like, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And I think that, 40, I think is a big turning point for when we women realize that.
And I'm only a few years away from 50, but they tell me another one happens when we turn 50. So I'm excited to see that.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm 2 years. I'm not even 2 years. I'm like a year and a half away from that. So I will let you know if I get there first, what happens at 50. But on another podcast, I was just talking about like, how do I keep like my body, my mind, like everything about me at 48, and not age, but age. Like I can grow another year older, but I want all of this to stay the same. Like I'm happy with the shape I'm in, where I'm mentally at, like like the whole thing. As we were talking about longevity, which I think when you add in obviously what you guys are doing in terms of the brain, and I mean the brain is so powerful. I'm curious, like, what did he have to study in order to do this?
Well, he already had a degree in medical technology, and then with his chiropractic degree and functional medicine degrees, he learned a lot about that, and then clinical neurology. So he just has a little bit of everything. But I had an epiphany a few months back of the fact that while I feel like I might be aging at 48 and getting older, the truth is I have probably that many years ahead of me too. And,
Yeah.
if I'm going to live another 48 or 50 years, I want them to be good years. And I want to have that vitality that you were talking about, that longevity where I'm healthy and I'm happy and I'm enjoying life and I'm able to get out. I had kids late, so I know that my grandkids will come late. I'm going to be 75. I want to be able to hold my grandbaby and be happy playing with them on the floor. So, well, I say 75. I don't know when, maybe they won't have kids. Who knows? But, I want to keep
Who
that.
knows? As like my little one just walked in and gave me her big cute smile.
But I want to keep that vitality so that the next half of my life can be just as great, or if not better than the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you need to connect with Betsy. She's amazing. We had the whole longevity discussion. Like she's in, where
I'm
are
in
you
St.
again?
Louis, Missouri.
Minnesota? Oh,
yeah.
Missouri. Right. So she's in Jersey, which isn't too far. I'm in Long Island. She's in Jersey. And I'm like, I may just come see you as my doctor. Like, I love what you're all about. I think it's hard to find doctors these days that are understanding and practicing functional medicine. Like I will be honest and say, like, I very rarely, I can count on one hand how many times I've been to a chiropractor. But our chiropractor that we do go to, she is also neurofeedback person. So she does neurofeedback. We tried it on my daughter at a young age, and I will say that I think it helped. I mean, we saw the difference in the way her brain changed from beginning to end. So I have been a believer in that. My husband and I are both all about longevity. These podcasts seem to be turning into like longevity podcasts. But I think listen, you become a magnet to people that share the same vision as you, right? So like I want to surround myself with other people that don't look at me cross-eyed when I talk about I want to live to 125 in the body of a 48-year-old. Right. And some of my friends are like, okay, whatever, but, okay, well, listen, you just grow old over there and I'm going to do everything I can to prevent that.
And on my 120th birthday, I'm going to come see you in the nursing home.
Exactly. I don't want to be in a nursing home.
No. You're going to go see them.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go see them. Yes. Well, I'll have all new friends because mine will all have died.
But like you said earlier about who you surround yourself with too. And just, that's exactly right. You start to surround yourself with people who are uplifting, who have positive energy, who want to have a healthy and happy life. And that's been one of the things that's just really been a blessing since I left the corporate world, is I could turn off all those people that were bringing me down in some ways, and I can find the people that I want to spend time with and meet amazing people like you and Dr. Betsy and whomever else in all the different places that, just add positive energy to your life instead of draining something from you. So that's my favorite thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we should say like at 40, you pull out the drains, right?
Yes.
You pull out the drains and you just surround yourself with people that fill you up. And that's what it's all about also is, that, and I find that on Clubhouse, I'm popping into rooms where there's that positive energy and there's positive mods on the stage and it's people that want to fill your cup. As opposed to some of the rooms on there that are all about like, who can I talk over and who can have the mic next? And, there's 100 mods on stage. So this is how we found each other on the Clubhouse.
And I'm fairly new to Clubhouse, but I'm loving it just for exactly that. I found a few groups that have just really positive energy, women supporting women mostly. And I just love to be a part of that.
Yes, me too. That's why we're here. So how can we support you? Tell me about what's going on. I know you have a challenge that's currently going on.
So we have a 5-day challenge called Leave the Overwhelm Behind. So you sign up for the challenge, and for the next 5 days, you'll get an email with a video and a lesson from me and some exercises to do yourself. Takes about 15 minutes a day, and you start to identify where your stress is coming from and the actions that you can take to start moving it in the right direction.
Awesome. That's super cool. And so is that an Evergreen? Like it's going on all the time?
Yes, it's Evergreen, and you can find it at neuroredeem.com/challenge.
Cool. All right. So what else do you have going on? Are you like full-time now on Neuroredeem?
Actually, I am full-time entrepreneur, but I'm helping my husband run his clinic and bringing in new patients for him. I'm running Neuroredeem, and then we also have a nutritional supplement company called Purewell. So, and we're developing a new product for that. So he keeps me busy. He's the idea guy. He comes up with an idea, drops it on my desk, and I take it from there. So always something fun and exciting to do each day.
Cool. And it's a
Yep,
supplement?
nutritional supplements like magnesium, omega fatty acids, a lot of different things, but just your general nutritional supplements. Yep.
Oh, that's cool. That's super awesome. And so you mentioned in the beginning of podcast, like you guys were thinking about moving. Are you still moving or are you staying put now?
We made the decision to have a practice here in St. Louis. And it's kind of hard to walk away from something like that. So we're staying with the practice for now, but looking at other options and expanding our reach online with these two businesses and seeing how we can reach more people outside this area and see if maybe that might change where we head in the future.
Awesome. What's been one of like the most challenging things for you on this journey?
So my corporate career was in operations and I was a compliance officer. So I told people what the rules were and made sure that they followed them. And so I was kind of the heavy. I was known as the Wicked Witch a little bit. People would cringe when I walked into the room. And while I thought that running these businesses was going to be more of being a CEO and running the business, it has turned out to be more marketing and sales. And that's not my expertise. And so I'm trying to figure out how I fit into all of that and learn new things and learn marketing and learn to build websites and graphic design. And right now I'm a team of me, so I do all the things. But it's been fun to learn. I can't say in the last year, a day hasn't gone by where I haven't learned something new. And I do love to learn. So that's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So there's so much content out there right now. Not to make this like a coaching call or a consulting call. But one of the things that I've learned over the years of having my business is like, if it's something that you don't enjoy and something that you feel like you're never going to get good at, that's when you should decide to outsource.
I have a list of what I will outsource in what order.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. That's a good list to have because, we can get so tied down. Like I'm doing this course right now where it's not a course, I'm launching this toolkit and which you probably know about because I've been talking about it. And the woman that built it is building it in Kartra. And I was basically like, okay, I could either learn this whole platform, figure it out over the course of weeks or months or however long it's going to take me. Or I could shell out the money and have someone that's been building this, that knows how to build it right. And so I threw in the towel and I said, this is the year of investing in things like that and not trying to wear all the hats and do it on my own. And so I jumped in and I said, all right, I'm going for it. I'm going to let her do it. And so she's doing it. And thankfully, I've given myself like a pretty tight deadline where I'm like, all right, let's get it done by this day. This is our launch day. Of course, it's like June 1st. And I'm like, not even ready on my side to launch it. But I'm like, I've got to like market it. I've got to get people in. I've got to launch it. And then of course, like today I'm like, oh, I have a great idea. So now I'm like adding a whole nother component to it, of course, because that's sort of what I do to myself. But that's what makes it fun. I'm sure you can relate, like going from corporate to going solo, sort of the benefits behind doing that.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I decided to give myself the first full year full-time working on the business so I could know what I wanted to do before I started hiring people who might try to change my mind. So we did hire somebody initially, And they were, well, you shouldn't use that website builder. I'm like, but it's already built. Let's not answer that question. Let's focus on what we need done. So, Yep, I'm giving myself this year to see how it all works and figure it all out. But come August, I am looking to, bring on some help.
Awesome. Well, keep that list of things that person can help you with. I help a lot of people to convince them that they need like a virtual assistant. Some people be like, oh, I need this person to do this and this person to do this. I'm like, you could just find a virtual assistant that specializes in this and they can do it for you.
Exactly. That's the first on my list, a virtual assistant.
There you go. See? So what's something that you would recommend to somebody that's considering like making the pivot or taking a shift and, going from corporate to entrepreneur?
Well, I'm not sure I'm at the point where I can make too many valid recommendations. I think one of the things, like I mentioned with the marketing, that's really hard for me is to narrow down the messaging and to keep niching down and find just that right audience. And I've sort of been trying to find what that is for me. And I think that's one of the things I would really recommend is to know who you want to serve and how you want to serve them, and then go really deep with those people. And I know that's not how I started out. I've kind of wavered with, who I'm encountering or who I'm talking to at the moment. And I think that has slowed me down a bit. And now that I'm getting that messaging and that niche narrowed in, it seems to be much more productive. So it seems counterproductive to say I'm going to go to a really narrow audience, but I'm learning that that's the right approach.
And it is 100% the right approach. And I can tell you from experience, when I first started, I'm like, I'm a consultant to all women entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter what level you are. And then I realized that it's more the mompreneur and the solopreneur that are sort of just getting started and don't have the right tools. So for me, it's like really now focusing on the pain point for women. And being able to say, like, I know the pain you're going through, and here's what I have to give you for that pain. Exactly. Here's all the pills in my jar.
Exactly. I'm in the same boat.
So. Yeah. Awesome. Absolutely. So anything else that you want to share?
I don't think so. Thank you for letting me share my experience and get to know you a little bit better. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. This has been fun. I love it. And I love the hair. So hopefully this video will go up. People can see like the bright pink hair under there.
Yeah, after international banking for 25 years, I thought maybe a nice bright hair might be fun.
So funny. I do not picture you in international banking.
I've been working really hard to find the new identity and own it. So
Right. How does it feel?
It actually feels really good. I think there were some growing pains of changing the way you talk and changing the way you interact with people. I think it's so funny when I get on groups and I'm, testing out some of my messaging and stuff. That the number one feedback I get is it's too corporate. That's where I come from. That's what I know. That's who I'm speaking to. So, that's been interesting. And finding the right voice is, I think it will constantly, like we've talked about, it's constantly going to change and develop as we grow older and try new things and discover who we are and who we want to be. But I feel like I'm coming into my own. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome. Well, you seem to be exactly where you should be. So I'm excited for you. Obviously, let me know how I can support you. And thank you for being here today. This was great. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Hayley Foster, and I hope you'll join me next time for more inspiring women who are fostering their passions each and every day. Please subscribe wherever you download your podcast and follow us on social media at Fostering 101.